When you attend a funeral, it is sad to think that sooner or later those you love will do the same for you. And you may have thought it tragic, not to mention other adjectives, to think of all the weeping they will do. But don't you worry, no more ashes, no more sackcloth, and an armband made of black cloth will someday nevermore adorn a sleeve. For if the bomb that drops on you gets your friends and neighbors too, there'll be nobody left behind to grieve, and we will all go together when we go. What a comforting fact that is to know. Universal bereavement and inspiring achievement. Yes, we all will go together when we go. We will all go together when we go. All suffused with an incandescent glow. No one will have the endurance to collect on his insurance. Lloyds of London will be loaded when they go.
Of course, to hear Bill Gates tell it, we don't really need to worry about nuclear war, which Tom Lehrer was advising us, how there's going to be nobody left to grieve behind when we all go together. But rather it should be a pandemic. He's been giving symposia on this for decades. He's also an advocate of world depopulation. He's an enthusiast for vaccines. I regard him as one of the big three in the brain trust, Hillary Clinton, Anthony Fauci, and Bill Gates, where it turns out Anthony Fauci in 2017 was predicting that Trump would have to deal with a surprise pandemic during his administration. How can it be a surprise if Anthony Fauci can predict it in 2017? How can he not know it's coming? How can it not therefore be a planned event? And this woman, Blix, who's also a spokesman for the White House, turns out to have had her medical license expire. Well, this and many other issues are going to be on the agenda with my guest today, Dave Johnson, who has a background in the U.S. Navy and electronics. In various related activities, he has a YouTube channel, Dave J, of his own, and he comes highly recommended by another guest on the show, Dave. It's great to have you here on The Raw Deal.
All right, thanks. Thanks for having me. Good to be here.
You can take off anywhere you want, my friend. I mean, I've been told you are a guy with a lot of thought behind everything you say.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, you were talking about fear at the beginning, and that's the big thing. Don't worry about it. There's nothing to fear as far as your life. Your life goes when your creator takes it. So then, as far as these hoaxes that are going, here's the big thing. We're living with the reaction to a false story or a false narrative. So they gave us a false narrative. They said that this virus is out to get you, this invisible boogeyman. And then they gave you all these different steps they wanted you to perform, and people are performing them. But it's the idea of people, they are controlled by their fear of death. And in fact, if they are followers of Christ, which I am, they should understand that they need to fear that second death, not this death, not this bodily death. The idea of the second death, meaning you need to be right with God when you go. You need to not be.
Now, Dave, as my audience knows, I, as an agnostic, alas, don't have that theological comfort to aid me in these times of stress. I do believe, however, in the adage that God helps those who help themselves. So I'm very keen on what we can do to deal with the present situation, because we appear to be on the same track and complete agreement that this is a planned pandemic. This is
absolutely
not a spontaneous development, and that it's a political event rather than a medical emergency.
Okay, but let me go even farther than that. I want to take you to the root of all of this. So the root of politics, the root of fear. It's the idea of the thought, or the beginning of the thought. Where did that thought come from? Where did the idea that I should be afraid come from? So now if I can isolate that and reduce it to a numbered form, and I call it the mind computer. I have it labeled 1 through 9, with the input being labeled 1 and 0, or IO, which most people can see is on or off. Meaning that when you get up to this scale, this idea of bringing an idea into your temple or into your mind, you get to the point of, do I want to believe it? Do I want to give it a home? That means, do I turn that 1 on? That's a 911 story. So these 911 stories you see throughout history, the idea of 2001, September 11th, that idea of the controlled demolition of towers coming down. It's the idea of 2 becoming 1. It's the idea of 9/11 with the Pearl Harbor. That was a 9/11 hoax, meaning it was a controlled event. It was planned, and it happened.
We certainly agree that 9/11 was an orchestrated event by my research, brought to us compliments of the CIA, the neocons, and the Department of Defense.
Well, all that's
good. U.S. Israeli citizens and the Mossad to draw the United States into the Middle East, to take out the modern Arab states that served as a counterbalance to Israel's domination of the entire region, and eventually to confront the Persian nation of Iran.
But what if I told you all of that was scripted? It was scripted to happen no matter what, so that your concern about it is all wasted time. Meaning that you can stand on the outside of all of these events without any concern in your heart for it, but you can just observe it happening. And you can also see it coming, because you can see the numbered code I told you about. I call it the 7 code, the idea of the Zion, or the mind. A lot of what you'll find is that the people that are controlling this narrative, war and peace, all those ideas are what most people would call Masons, or groups like those type groups that have a certain mystical aspect to what they call mysteries. All of those mysteries, however, are just camouflage for a fallen system of fallen light or fallen ideas. Meaning that if I can take a populace of otherwise free human beings with free minds who love enjoyment, that's what we want to do. That's our proper state is joy. It's not fear, okay? See, Christ gave me the spirit of joy and truth, not of fear. So I fear nothing. However, most fear for their lives daily. Therefore, if they're fearing for their lives daily, they haven't lived a day in their life, unfortunately. And that's too bad when you think of that. So then let me tell you this, and I would hope to lift some weight off of your shoulders by this talk. I really do. Because a lot of what you are concerned about is just a boogeyman. It's just a fear in your heart and a confusion in your mind.
You mean in relation to the audience being apprehensive about
absolutely
the coronavirus?
Well, coronavirus, the idea of war, the idea of accidents, whether it be nuclear, this, that, and the other, because those technologies, as they are presented to you throughout history, don't exist. They don't exist in the way that you've been shown. All right. So a nuclear bomb is not going to, it does not do what you think it does, because it does not exist in the way you think it does. You need to get rid of that. That will not happen to you.
You're baffling me, Dave. I got to admit. Okay, I've seen so many nuclear explosions.
No, you haven't seen anything.
So many mushroom clouds.
You have seen nothing.
I encourage everyone to watch the film, Stanley Kubrick's most brilliant, Dr. Strangelove, at least once every year to remind me.
But you have not seen anything. You have seen videos. And if you actually take the time, please listen to me here. You must take yourself, your concern away, and you must look at this stuff logically. Take a look at all of the evidence that they have presented to you. And you are claiming that that's the evidence you're presenting to me as it being real. I'm saying I'm going to use that same evidence and show you that it's not real, because it's all contrived. You can see it's all just movie mockery. And in fact, there's been several times, and I'll show you this, James. There were several times in the news where CNN and other news outlets would put up video of military activity in Iraq, for example. And this one time they put out a videotape, CNN specifically. And I could see that there was a backdrop, much like an old cowboy movie, where the end of the street's actually just a painted backdrop. It's a false scene. And I said, you can see it. It was so badly done. And so I called in and I said, did you guys see that that was just a backdrop? It wasn't an actual real street. And you guys were claiming that there was a military activity happening. And then they said, oh, we didn't see that. I called the Pentagon and I actually got through to the duty desk. And I actually emailed to the duty desk that video. And I talked to the commander and he watched it with me. And he said, yeah, that doesn't look real to me. So they are presenting you with so much fake forgery and phony footage, and you are believing it because you have already allowed yourself to believe in your mind that that's possible.
Well, Dave, there are two different issues here.
Right.
There's what's presented on television, and then there's what's really going on in the world, which may or may not comport. But I take it while you're asserting that some of what was being shown in relation to the Iraq invasion was fabricated with a green screen and so forth. You're not denying that we invaded Iraq and we destroyed a lot of the country.
Yeah, controlled demolition is what war is. This. Let me explain war to you. War is controlled demolition and strategic relocation. Okay? So then this is very simple. Yes, there is destruction in war, but it's all controlled. There is troop movement in war, but it is all controlled. All right? There is strategic relocation in war, but it is all controlled. So if I have, if I'm controlling the so-called enemy, because the enemy is the other guy if you're on the other side, if I'm controlling that enemy, both side commanders are in contact. Okay, move to position C. As soon as you're in position C, I'll move to position B.
Well, Dave,
no, let me keep going just to get the full thought finished. So then it's just a controlled ballet. Okay? So if anybody, and this is very important for me to tell this to you, there is one thing that you do not want to do in this existence, and this is the only thing. The rest is all forgivable. Do not, under any circumstance, false witness death. Don't do it. I'm only going to tell you that once.
Okay.
However, so let me just finish this on the war aspect. Nobody, and if they told you this, they are lying to you. Nobody has aimed a rifle at an enemy on a battlefield and shot at them to kill them. Nobody, period. Hasn't happened. If they claim that, they are lying to you. They are, in fact, liars and spiritual murderers.
Dave, look. I'm a former Marine Corps officer.
And don't tell me that you were in war because you would be lying to me.
Look, Dave,
don't do it.
Let me finish my thought.
Uh-huh.
I've studied military history.
Mm-hmm.
We've had many great battles. The idea that they were all coordinated or controlled is frankly nonsense.
It's not nonsense.
We have,
what you just said to me.
We have better and less good generals. We have some great ones. Robert E. Lee was a great general who happened to be fighting for the Confederacy. George Patterson.
That's all just words on paper. That's all words on paper.
The Allies.
That's all words on paper. It's all words on paper. It's all words on paper. It's not true witness. No, James, I think we have to agree on something. I think we need to agree at some point that true witness is what you see with your eyes, not words that you have seen. I want to talk about true witness. Can we talk about true witness?
Even what you see with your eyes, as you were explaining about that broadcast regarding the Iraqi war, isn't to be believed.
But I saw the truth of it. What most people saw was the lie. They saw what they wanted to believe. So yes, if you look and you see the truth and you're not deceived, your eyes are yours to use. It's a sense. But if you have given yourself over wholly to the lie,